everybody, thank you for rejoining me. So what I've been doing is I have cut out all of the rebates on my upright components. I've got two here. As you can see, I've chopped out the rebate there. Now all I've done is I've just done the same process as I did with the upper rail and the bottom sill on the table saw. I think we've done enough stuff on running stuff through the table saw in this video, so you don't need to see any more of that. So I've done that on 1, 2, 3, 4 uprights. I've also done that on my rails. So here I've got what will be the bottom rails. Cut the profile in there. Now the bottom rails, these will take a wooden panel to sit inside there. We've also done the middle rail, which has got a double rebate cut into it. So the bottom will take the wooden panel and the top will take the glass panel. And then finally, exactly the same process on our upper rail, which again just has the same profile rebate cut into it there, which that will take the glass. So they're all done. Now come in here and I'll show you what I'm doing right now, which is cutting out the tenons and the profiles to drop into the angled bottom sill. Let's have a look. So here I've got my angled bottom sill. This is one of my uprights. And hopefully from there you can see that once this stands upright, how this profile drops in and over our bottom sill. So how I set this up was first of all establishing how deep I need my tenons to be. So I take a measurement from the top of here, which is ultimately where the joint will sit, down to the bottom of the mortise, which establishes this baseline here. Okay, I then need to establish the step, which the back of our uprights is going to sit stepped over this back rebate here. So that is this distance here, which is there to there. This establishes the point at which our angle begins. So with our angle gauge set to this angle, we can then add this to here, strike our line, follow it around, and that's pretty much the outside profile set. Now as you may remember, I set my shoulders by the width of my ruler. So coming from the front of the upright, if I pop that on there, you can see that's kind of the shoulder and the beginning of our first tenon. I can then mark the width of the chisel, and that gives me a tenon. My gap, the width of another chisel, that gives me my second tenon. And then the ruler on the outside edge gives us the shoulder line there. And we've soon identified the tenons that we want to keep and all the waste material. From there it's just a case of cutting it out. Okay, so just staying on the waist side of each of my lines, I'm going to make all of my rip cuts. ensuring I stop before I go past my angle line. Right, my next manoeuvre is to make my angle cuts, which will take away all this material here. So I need this to be nice and clean. So I'll take my knife scratch cut line right on there. And I'll then come in with a chisel. Just make a little trough for my saw to sit in. And that should give us a nice clean cut line. Change to the crosscut saw. And nice and steady. And there we go. We'll just clean that up a little bit. And we're nearly there. It. Okay, so if you just continue that cut around, you can take the front off. What I'm going to do next is take away this material here, which is the step. So just the same as I have done before, I've scored the line with a knife. Clamp that to the bench. And then we can knock out this little step here. Not far away, a little bit of clean up, but that's nearly done. Okay, so that's it, pretty much done. All we've got left to take out is this little piece here in between our tenon. But as long as you've got everything square, so your shoulders are square, that'll sit nicely. And as long as you've got your angle dialed in, that's bang on. So again, you'll have no gaps underneath. And again, as long as you square across there, which we absolutely are, everything should seat nicely once it drops into position, and you won't be far away. You might need a little bit of fine tuning. So all I'm going to do now is just knock this middle piece out, and we can call that joint done. Alright, so I've just fine tuned it a little bit. Let's see if it fits. Not too shabby. Okay, so as you can see, that was the third upright that I've already installed. I've done 1 and 2 on this side. I just have the final one to install on that far end. And as you can see, it's starting to come together. So I think we'll call that the end of part 3. All I'm going to do is continue to do the same joint on the top sill, which is much easier because we don't have the angle to contend with. That's just nice square cuts. So join me next time where we'll continue to put this thing together. I'll see you soon.